So lesson 2, I'll be using a web with the word global warming in the middle. So it'll just basically help us all go over what we learned in the movie, and then they'll continue watching the movie, taking their notes. Lesson 3, they will discuss the first film, go over the reading notes. They will discuss the ongoing theme of the impact humans have made thus this far. I will present to them the second documentary, An Inconvenient Truth Part 2, which is by the same producer, Al Gore, only 10 years later. So the goal is to see if the students can compare and contrast the two movies and see if any of his predictions came true. They will have a different set of reading questions and a different log to complete while viewing. There will also be exit cards, which will happen each class, and those will be filled in online and on Google Classroom, so it'll be really easy for me to see who's doing them and who isn't. Okay, so back to what I was doing. Sorry. So lesson 4, the teacher will begin discussing the second movie, comparing it to the first. They'll talk about the predictions, what's happening. They'll finish watching the second documentary. Lesson 5, we have our mini complex task. So this will be the creation of the Venn diagram, which they will be doing in pairs. So what they're trying to do is decipher the similarities and the differences between the two movies. This will help them write their response that's coming up. So they will share their findings with the class. Then I will present to them their mini complex task, which is the reflection. It's uniting the two movies together. This reflection will be comparing both of the documentaries, and the students will give their opinion on the subject. So lesson 6 will be, they'll have a group discussion on the environment, and they will rewatch some key parts if they need to. The rest of the class will be a designated work period on the reflection. Okay, so lesson 7, I will be presenting the culminating task, which is the feature article. The students will be expected to have their reflection complete. As a hook, they will watch 2 videos about how our future could look like. In groups, they will discuss their findings, share with the class. I will give them the negative versus positive handout, which is another mini enabling task. This is really cool. They'll be doing it in pairs, so they must activate their prior knowledge about the environment. So the goal is to get them to think of not just the negative impacts on the environment, but the positive ones as well. So in teams, they'll think of some negative impacts we as humans have made and some positive. Okay, so this is very cool because you might want to take a positive take on the environment. It's not meant to be just negative in the feature article. Some students might want to look at the positive impacts we've had. So then I will hand out the research cards and we'll go over some simple research techniques. They have the rest of the class to work on researching for their culminating task. Okay, so lesson 8, they discuss the setup of the feature article, and that's where another mini enabling task comes in, which is the Don't Take That Tone With Me handout that I explained earlier. So it's to show the importance of creating tone in an article, because a feature article, it's very important that it's your tone and less formal. So that's what I kind of want to help them lead up to this culminating task. That's an important step to take. So lesson 9, the students will look over one feature article as an example as a class. We'll go over, highlight the content, blah, 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 the title, intro, body, conclusion. They'll look at what makes a good feature article. In groups, they'll look at the second one. They have to try and do that alone. The remainder of the class, they'll be working on their feature article. The lesson 10 is a work period for the feature article. Lesson 11, we start off with what peer conferencing is, because I don't just want the students to peer conference and just take their friends and write good things. So we'll look at the importance of peer conferencing. Then the rest of the period will be to fill out their peer conference sheet if they're at that point, and to continue working on their culminating task. Lesson 12. This is the last day that they work on the feature article, and they must also submit their recording as well. So I think that's good. I think that's what I will explain. Just a minute. Sorry, I don't want to pause the video. So The rubric for the reflection response was taken directly from the ministry that I didn't write up, so I have included that in there because that's one my AT wants me to do for their reflection. So that is that. The analytic rubric for the culminating task, which is the feature article in the broadcasting, it's a joint mark out of 25. That's okay. The students will be assessed both formatively and summatively. Their participation in class and group discussions and exit cards will be counted for the talk competency. I will be going around during their class discussions to hear and jot down who contributes to the conversation. I realize for numerous reasons some students may not feel comfortable participating in classroom or group discussions, which is why the handouts that will be given will serve as formative assessment for me. It'll be kept through Google Classroom where only I have access to it. All the assessment handouts they will have will be posted through Google Classroom where they may look at them if ever they lose a hard version copy. On certain classes listed above, there will also be exit cards, as I said, and these will also be kept online. The reflection uniting the two documentaries will serve as a response style mark and will be marked as a summative mini enabling task for their CD2, competency 2. And they will be marked, as I said, by the rubric the government provides. The culminating task will be the feature article and the broadcast, which will count all for CD3. So that's good. I think that's all I have to say on this. I'm really sorry. I'm really bad at this. Oh yeah. So my associate teacher will be teaching the first half of term 2 until I begin my practicum, which means when I start, I will be responsible for 16% of CD1, 16% of CD2, and 17% of CD3. The exit cards, group discussion, and handouts done in class will be counted for CD1. The exit cards will be worth 6% in total of the grade. The handouts will be worth 7%, and group discussion will be worth 3%. The 2 reading logs on both the documentaries will count for CD2 and be worth a total of 6%, and the reflection/response will be worth a total of 10% for their CD2. The culminating task is a write, say, do, but will only be counted for CD3 and is worth a total of 17% of their 17% of their CD3 for term 2. So I'm sorry, I'm really over my time. I tried to talk quickly, but I want to also explain what I was doing properly, and I want to explain the lessons as well to you, just a little bit to give you an idea of what I was doing, as I'm really stressed right now. So I will stop talking. I just want to say I enjoyed doing this assignment because it got me thinking about where I want to go with my class, and I'm really excited to start this as me and my AT have constructed this idea together. So I'm excited to start teaching it. I also want to say that I found it hard doing the reporting and the report cards and weightings because I fully don't get it yet, and that's something I'm looking forward to learning. Thank you.